Law News wrote an article about how Donald Trump apparently sued The Onion in 2013. This guy's unbelievable. So for the 6 of you who are somehow unaware, The Onion is probably the most well-known satirical news site in the world. Donald Trump was so offended by a piece of theirs that he literally sued them. And what happened is they wrote an article from Donald Trump titled, "When you're feeling low, just remember I'll be dead in about 15 or 20 years. And then obviously it goes on and it makes these points about how unlikable he is. And that's true even today, even though he has a Republican nomination. His unfavorables are fucking sky high. So, the article at the time in 2013, it was hilarious. Not a single person who read it thought Donald Trump actually wrote it. It's clearly satire. But what happened in response? Well, The Onion got this letter, quote, "To The Onion, I wish to call your attention to an article currently on your homepage allegedly penned by Donald Trump entitled, 'When you're feeling low, just remember I'll be dead in about 15 or 20 years. Let me begin by stating the obvious. The commentary was not written by Donald Trump. The article is an absolutely disgusting piece that lacks any place in journalism, even in your Onion. I'm hereby demanding that you immediately remove this disgraceful piece from your website and apologize to Mr. Trump. I further ask you that you contact me immediately to discuss this commentary. This commentary goes way beyond defamation, and if it's not removed, I will take all actions to ensure that your actions will not go without consequences. Guide yourself accordingly.'" What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Now, they claim, well, that article was written by his attorney. No, you know who it was written by? Donald Trump. You know how you can tell? Everything is super Trumpian, how he wrote it. So, this guy sits around all day, and by the way, he does this today, too. There's reports about this, how he just sits around and reads everything he can possibly read in the media about himself. He was doing it back then, too. He stumbles across The Onion. I don't know whether he thought it was satirical, or he didn't, and he didn't care. I don't know. Whatever the case is, he was so outraged and offended by this piece on him that he sued them. Now, not only that, he sued Bill Maher. Bill Maher's spoken about this before. He made a joke about, you know how Trump was a birther, actually is still a birther about President Obama. And he keeps asking, okay, let me see your college transcripts, let me see this, let me see that. But, Obama's proved a million times over that he was, of course, born in Hawaii, which is in the United States of America. Trump doesn't believe it. Let me see this, let me see that, let me see your college transcripts. So, what does Maher do? He goes out there and he says, prove to me that you're not the love child of an orangutan and a human. And then he shows a picture because the hair on the orangutan is close to the color of his actual hair. So he makes that. What does Donald Trump do? He goes and shows his birth certificate and says, see, an orangutan is not my father. And he sues Maher and takes him to court. And he wants to take, I don't know what it was, $1 million or something like that from him. And he's like, I proved it. Therefore, now you need to give me money. And I'm going to sue you to make sure you never speak about me like this again. Okay, that's incredible. Now, we have a clear case of this guy suing people for freedom of speech and satire, which is crazy. And then also, he's not backing down. He went on to say recently at a rally, we covered it at the time, quote, I'm going to open up our libel laws. Which means anytime anybody, anywhere offends me and says something I don't like and you insult me, I am going to make it so that I can sue your punk ass and win. This guy is like fucking Erdogan in Turkey. He's the most anti-First Amendment candidate I've ever seen in my entire life. He doesn't give a fuck about the Constitution and about freedom of speech and freedom of expression and freedom of protest. He does not care. Which gets to the main point about this story. Oftentimes we hear from the right, and to be clear about this, I actually totally agree with them on this point. You have this certain segment on the right that's anti-PC. And, anti-PC means every time there's some sort of joke about minorities or something, and then liberals get all up in arms, and they say, that's offensive, and that's insensitive, and you shouldn't say that. You have these people on the right who go, pipe down, dipshit. You know, this is a free country. We get to say whatever we want. If you don't like the joke, don't listen to the fucking comedy, but move along. All of your joke outrage is fucking childish and petulant. So we have people who say that, but then all of a sudden we have a Republican, a right-wing candidate for president, who not only gets offended by jokes, he sues people for jokes. He wants to literally censor them, ban them from doing jokes about topics that he deems off limits. So if you're somebody who's anti-PC, you have to be against Donald Trump. I mean, he goes beyond joke outrage, and I'm offensive, and that's insensitive. He'll literally try to ban you from saying things he doesn't like. So if you're somebody who's part of the anti-PC crowd, and to be clear, the anti-PC crowd stretches from people on the left. You know, I'd argue somebody like Bill Maher is anti-PC. I'd argue I'm totally anti-PC. And it stretches all the way to the right. There's, you know, people like Milo Yiannopoulos, Steven Crowder, fucking Ann Coulter likes to pretend she's anti-PC. In reality, she's just anti-correctness, not political correctness. She's just wrong about everything. But, you know, this is a broad crowd, a broad group we're talking about where, hey, these are people who say, fuck your joke outrage. I don't care if you're offended or if you think something is insensitive. Get the fuck over it. All of those people, if any of them actually support Trump, and they do, they are the biggest fucking hypocrites on planet Earth. Apparently, you hate joke outrage unless it's from the right. In which case, you can sue The Onion if you want to, and I'll still support you. Be totally against the Constitution and the First Amendment. Or you can sue Bill Maher, you could sue anybody. Fuck them. If you're on team right wing, then it's cool to be politically correct. Then it's cool to be outraged and to say that's insensitive and I'm offended. No. I'm against the joke outrage and the oversensitivity on both sides all the time. You guys, on the other hand, are total and utter hypocrites. So don't tell me you're anti-PC. You're no such fucking thing. If you actually were anti-PC, you would immediately come out and rip Donald Trump for this and say you can't support him, but you won't do that.